In the vast, untamed wilderness of the forgotten jungle, where the sun barely touches the ground through the thick canopy and the roar of predators echoes through the valleys, one name reigned supreme: King Kong. Towering above all other creatures, with arms like ancient tree trunks and eyes that shimmered with wisdom and raw power, King Kong was not merely a beast, he was a legend. He lived not in luxury, but in freedom. His days began with the rustling of leaves and the songs of birds. He would climb the cliffs to watch the sunrise and descend into the rivers to quench his thirst. Fruit-bearing trees bowed under his might as he fed, and the jungle paths bent to his stride. Despite his fearsome appearance, King Kong was a protector of the weak, often seen defending herds of smaller animals from predators. His roar sent tremors through the forest, not just as a warning, but as a promise. The jungle was under his watch, but life in the jungle was a daily trial by fire. King Kong faced countless threats: venomous serpents the size of trains, herds of rogue rhinos, and monstrous reptiles that had survived since the dawn of time. Among his most memorable battles were showdowns with towering dinosaurs that threatened to dethrone him. The earth would shake beneath their duels. Trees snapped, rivers rerouted, and silence would fall after each epic confrontation. King Kong emerged victorious time and again, though not without wounds. On one fateful day, however, he faced a foe unlike any other. A titanic, armored beast that struck with devastating force. The clash was brutal. The jungle trembled under their fury. Though King Kong managed to overpower his rival, he sustained grave injuries. Bleeding, breathless, and weak, he made a staggering journey, not toward solitude, but toward hope. Bruised and battered, King Kong reached the gates of Jungle City Hospital, a place no wild creature had ever entered before, in search of healing and perhaps survival. Scene 1, Emergency Arrival, 0.52. Narration: A severely injured King Kong stumbled to the gates of the Jungle City Hospital. The emergency team, led by Dr. Haroon, a senior emergency physician, quickly placed him on a heavy-duty stretcher and rushed him inside. His body bore deep bruises and his chest heaved painfully with each breath. Scene 2, First Aid and Initial Stabilization, 0:52-1:44. Narration: Inside the emergency bay, Nurse Lena and Dr. Haroon provided immediate first aid. Bandages were wrapped over open wounds and oxygen was administered. Vitals were recorded, and the trauma team began preparing for diagnostic imaging to understand the internal damage. Scene 3, Diagnostic Imaging Round, 1:44-2:36. Narration: Under the supervision of Dr. Samir, chief radiologist, King Kong underwent a series of imaging tests: an MRI to assess soft tissue damage, a CT scan to visualize deep internal trauma, an ultrasound for organ condition, and a chest X-ray to evaluate rib and lung injuries. The results pointed toward a critical internal complication. Scene 4, Medical Review and Decision, 2:36-3:28. Narration: A panel of specialists gathered, headed by Dr. Sophia, thoracic surgeon, and Dr. Kadir, internal medicine specialist. Reviewing all scans, they discovered severe inflammation inside King Kong's chest, an inflamed organ that required immediate surgical removal to save his life. Scene 5, First Surgery, 3:28-4:20. Narration: King Kong was wheeled into the operation theater. Dr. Sophia, assisted by Dr. Rehan, led the delicate surgery. The inflamed organ was removed, bleeding controlled, and the chest cavity stitched with heavy-duty surgical thread. It was a race against time, but the surgery was a success. Scene 6, ICU Care and Setback, 4:20-5:12. Narration: Post-surgery, Dr. Kadir transferred King Kong to the intensive care unit, ICU. He was placed under continuous monitoring with IV fluids and anti-infection injections. Jungle animals came to visit, whispering encouragement, but doctors noticed his recovery was slower than expected. Scene 7, Second Surgery and Blood Transfusion, 5:12-6:04. Narration: Alarms signaled complications. Dr. Sophia decided on a second surgery. The procedure was repeated meticulously. After stitching the chest again, King Kong was returned to the ICU. There, Dr. Maha, the hematologist, transfused 10 units of blood matching his rare group, stabilizing him after significant blood loss. Dinosaurs came to show support. Scene 8. Gradual recovery. 6:04, 6:56. Narration. In the ICU, Dr. Qadir monitored every heartbeat, drip, and breath. Day by day, King Kong's strength returned. He was finally moved to the general ward. Nurses adjusted his medication, and he slowly began to eat and sit up. Hope began to shine. Scene 9. Discharge and gratitude. 6:56, 7:48. Narration. After a thorough assessment, Dr. Haroon and the team deemed him fit for discharge. Before leaving, King Kong stood tall at the hospital gates and thanked the doctors and nurses for their extraordinary service. The entire hospital staff cheered as their patient departed in good health. While leaving the hospital, King Kong was very happy to have his life been saved by the genius doctors of the hospital. Scene 10. Return to jungle in tribute, 7:48, 8:48. Narration. The jungle had never known a stillness like this. From every corner of the vast wilderness, animals came, the old and the young, the swift and the slow, the hunters and the grazers. They gathered beneath the ancient trees, beside the sacred river, where legends were born and remembered. Birds hovered above in quiet formation. The wind slowed, and the forest seemed to hold its breath. At the center stood King Kong, bruised but unbowed, his massive chest rising with calm, steady strength. His scars gleamed in the sun like medals, earned in battle. With a slow, deliberate motion, he raised his mighty hand. A hush swept over the clearing. Brothers and sisters of the wild, I have returned. I stand before you not as a warrior of strength alone, but as one who has faced the deepest shadow. Days ago I fell, not to an enemy I could strike, but to wounds no roar could fight off. I lay broken, bleeding, weakened beyond measure. I had no certainty left in my heart. But then, in the steel walls of Jungle City Hospital, I found hope. Not from beasts like me, but from humans. Small in size, yet colossal in courage. They did not fear me. They did not flinch at the sight of my wounds or the sound of my pain. Instead, they stood tall, with minds sharp as talons, hands steady as river stones. They scanned my body with lights, opened my chest with precision, fought the fire of infection with invisible weapons. I went under once, and then again. Each time, they brought me back. They gave me blood when mine ran dry. They fought for me, when I could no longer fight for myself. They were not just doctors. They were guardians, heroes in silence. They treated a creature of the jungle with the dignity of a king, and because of them, I breathe. I speak. I live. Let it be known across every branch, beneath every leaf, and within every cave, I, King Kong, am not here by my own strength. Alone. I owe my life to those who stood beside me in my darkest hour. So today, I do not roar in pride. I roar in gratitude. He paused, his eyes sweeping across the crowd. Let their names echo with the rivers. Let the earth remember. Because, from now on, the jungle and the hospital are no longer worlds apart. They are brothers in survival. Then, King Kong tilted his head back and released a thunderous roar, not of rage, but of triumph, unity, and life reclaimed. The animals responded with a chorus of wild cries. The jungle once again belonged to its king,